Hi students, our today's ERQ is evaluate research on localization of function with regard to human behavior. So this is a very simple ERQ. I will tell you how to structure it, how to write and what to write in it. So let's see the command term first. It says evaluate. That means we need to evaluate, write its strengths and weaknesses. Of what? Evaluate research on localization. It means I need to write the strengths and weaknesses of the research, which is of course our supporting study that we are going to use in the CRQ. And we take the supporting studies from biological approach localization chapter. So let's get started. Okay, so we start this ERQ by writing the introduction, and this is what I write. This essay is going to evaluate the theory of the localization of function. There are many parts of the brain that have specific functions. The amygdala is linked to fear and aggression. The insula gyrus is linked to disgust. There are 4 lobes of the brain: the frontal, occipital, temporal and parietal lobes. When you're thinking and planning, you're using your frontal lobe. The corpus callosum connects the 2 hemispheres and helps in the transfer of information from one side of the brain to the other. And the cingulate gyrus plays a role in pain perception. This essay will focus on the role of the hippocampus. Now I am going to write a study, supporting study for my ERQ, and I have used a Milner one, HM study, and this is what I write. A famous study was carried out by Milner. She studied a patient called HM who had an accident at the age of 7. He was hit by a cyclist which caused a brain injury and he started having epileptic attacks. This injury slowly was ruining his life, so that after 20 years he couldn't have a normal life. In order to help him, his hippocampus was removed. HM developed both retrograde, that is couldn't remember the past, and anterograde amnesia, couldn't produce new memories. The procedure consisted following activities. HM had to do an IQ testing, cognitive testing. He had regular interviews featuring his family members. There was a constant observation of his behavior, and after all, he had his brain scanned on the MRI. Now after this, I have to write obviously the strengths and the weaknesses, because this question is all about evaluation. So this is what I write. The research shows that after the surgery, HM could not store new episodic or semantic memories. As he was able to speak, his working memory was working well, and his procedural memory was not damaged much. During the surgery, his hippocampus was damaged, and this damage caused most of the problems. His basal ganglia, however, was not damaged. The limitation of this research is that it is not easy to replicate it. However, it is possible. Also, the research does not contain any information about the patient's abilities before the trauma. But the biggest limitation is ethics. The researcher received informed consent from HM, but he immediately forgot that he had given it. This means that he did not remember that he could withdraw from the study. This study is considered unethical and could not be replicated today. The strength of this study is that it is a longitudinal study even after HM's death. This study strongly linked to the topic of localization of function. It demonstrates that a certain part of the human brain controls a certain behavior. MRI scan showed that the function of a hippocampus, which is a part of a human's limbic system, has a function creating and saving a long-term memory. However, since this is such an extreme case, the results cannot be generalized. Therefore, we cannot say that this is the role of the hippocampus in other populations. I'm done with the ERQ. I started with the introduction followed by the aim, and then I gave 2 supporting studies, each followed by the evaluation, that is the strengths and the weaknesses, and I finished off my ERQ by writing 1 conclusion paragraph. So this is how I structure my ERQ, and I hope that you understood how to write and what to write. And if you liked my video, please like, share and subscribe.